There is another way to get mana. Of course she had to say that. There is another way to get mana from you. Yes. Yes, while all the attention is obviously drawn on the controversies around Harem in a Labyrinth of Another World, Vermeil and Gold's over here just kind of enjoying its time. I think it's kind of funny that the one that's obviously more raunchy is just getting no coverage, but yes, Vermeil and Gold, a series that is airing in the summer 2022 anime season. I have managed to get through 2 episodes of it, and these are my thoughts on the series so far, so let's jump right into it. Vermeil and Gold, or Kinsou no Vermeil. I'm not going to read the rest of the title. It's fine. It's 4 light novels. It's to put on the book, but yes, this series covers a guy named Alto, and Alto is a part of this one academy, this magic academy. And he really does at some point mention the idea that he seeks to become this Platinum Square member, this person that's at the highest of ratings of mages because of their contributions to the world of magic. Well, he's about to be held back an entire year, as it seems as if he's having troubles summoning a familiar. He's really good at everything else. His grades are great, everything. He's really talented at magic, but he sucks at summoning. Well, at some point, again, he's going to be held back an entire year, but he's given one more night to finally get himself a familiar. Otherwise, he's going to be held back, because it seems as if the next year is going to be heavily reliant on them having a familiar, because all the training and classes are kind of centered around familiars. Well, as he's walking around this library and he's considering this idea, I need to get a summon really badly, this book falls from one of the shelves right on top of his head. And he's like, that'd be really interesting if this was a summoning book. And sure enough, he opens it at home and finds that it is actually a book that has a summoning circle in it, and it looks like it's well intact, even though it's a really old book. Well, he draws a circle, starts his incantation, and boom, up pops Vermeil, a demon. And he quickly calls out to make a contract with this summon that he just made. Well, oddly enough, this demon accepts it, and thus Vermeil becomes Alto's first summon. Well, that's not all. Vermeil wants something in return. She wants mana, as we quickly find out that, I mean, from most of the viewers' perspective, this looks like it's probably a succubus. A demon that really does require a lot of mana. And as we get from the conversation between Vermeil and Alto, it does look as if Alto, the reason why he's having such a problem summoning something is because his mana potency is so high. So any familiar that would even think about making a pact with Alto, they would die. Like, it would be too much. The amount of mana he would give them would be like poison. It would actually kill them. But Vermeil, being a demon, and again, assuming she's probably a succubus, this is a good thing. This is something that she can take and she does actually like. And it turns out that's something that she actually needs, because she's been sealed away in that book that he found for a long time. And so her mana and her magic capability is very much depleted. Well, now Alto returns to school. Thankfully, he has a new summon at his side. Obviously, everybody just doesn't think it's a summon. They think it's just his girlfriend that's coming to school with him. Obviously, his childhood friend Lilia is super jealous, and yes, the teachers don't even get it. They're like, wait, you can't just bring a random lady to school and say that she's your familiar. And sure enough, she's like, here, look at my chest. This is a mark of a pact. He's like, well, are you okay with that? And she's like, yes. The thing is that Vermeil, in order to hide the fact that she's a demon, she has disguised herself. She has removed her horns and her tail, because yes, in this world, people are afraid of demons. So she's trying to keep the identity, that the fact that she is a demon, a secret. Well, this continues as Lilia, his childhood friend, gets really upset, challenges him to a duel to claim that if she wins, he will have to leave Vermeil home. Don't ever bring her to school anymore. To which Vermeil quickly dispatches Lilia. Yes, technically using her abilities on Lilia makes for a very interesting scene. But in return for Alto winning, he says that he wants Lilia to be Vermeil's friend. Cutting to the second episode, we meet his rival, which is Marcus. And Mark seems to have this maid that works at his side, which was kind of odd because they end up getting called in this little conference with the school head, and he wants to make either Alto, Lilia, or this maid into like the head, the student representative of their year. And this leads them to have to do this trial where they have to go get this flower, in which time Charlotte, this maid, ends up having to help Marcus, who showed up, and Lilia uses an invisibility potion to get past this Curubus, and Alto uses power from Vermeil to fight back. And they also end up having this point where Alto has a run-in with one of the higher upperclassmen that he quickly dispatches. So yes, my thoughts on Vermeil and Gold. This series is pretty much just an excuse to have a really hot lady with a boy that doesn't want to have any interaction with females or just completely is oblivious. And I think that's where I'm already having my struggle with Vermeil and Gold. This is your standard harem fare where the main protagonist goes, oh no, big things, and blushes and runs away. He is extremely dense when it comes to any interaction with other girls, obviously not even knowing that Lilia is madly in love with him, instead realizes, oh no, she's always mean to me, and never really connects the two and two when you have situations like Lilia freaking out over the fact that he's going to be able to tell her to do anything. He is extremely dumb, and that's kind of the struggle. The only thing that kind of brings Alto up as a main character for me, honestly, is the fact that he already has a focus. Like, we've already established that this guy has goals in mind. He wants to be the top of his class. He wants to do really well. And additionally, he wants to contribute to this thing. He wants to become a very high-class mage, and he wants to, not only that, contribute to the world of magic itself by becoming one of these platinum squares. So he's not totally dumb, and he does have a focus at least. And that's obviously something that Vermeil, being his familiar and additionally gaining something from him while contributing to him, wants to aid him as well. There is also a pretty solid explanation as to why Alto is a special, overpowered main character, and the idea that he has such a high potency of magic, but it's something that doesn't really work for anything else. Like, he's doomed to probably never have another familiar unless he gets another demon, because Vermeil is pretty much the only one that can technically take what he's able to give. They're also kind of already establishing that Vermeil is technically a bad thing. She is something that at some point somebody had to seal away because she did a lot of bad things. Now, again, assuming she's a succubus, they haven't quite said it yet. Assuming that she's a succubus, you could assume that it's probably because she did naughty things with a lot of important people, and so they sealed her away because she's, inappropriate. But at the same time, it does kind of imply that she technically has done something in the past. I don't know if it's going to come up at some point. I'm assuming it's going to come up at some point. And will it actually have impact behind it? Will it turn out to be something that Alto will even question having Vermeil at his side for? Probably not. Additionally, I do like the chemistry in the show so far. Having the childhood friend that's super jealous, freaking out in the middle of class, because one of my favorite scenes in the show so far is you have this whole situation where Alto's in class. Vermeil's literally sitting on his lap and with her arm around him, and everybody's obviously looking because she's really hot. And Lilia's upset. And the teacher even upset. The teacher's like, this is indecent. You shouldn't be doing this in class. And he's like, and Vermeil's response is, well, everybody else in class has their familiar on them. Like, everybody else has, like, beetles and little spirit bird things. And all the class's familiars are on top of them. And why not her? She's a familiar, too. So he's like, okay, whatever, I'll allow it. Kind of moves on. But no, that doesn't stop Lily from freaking out the moment that she says, hey, give me some more of your mana, in an obviously suggestive way. I did really enjoy Lilia using the invisibility potion, realizing that it doesn't affect the clothes, so you have to hold this whole situation where she has to take off all of her clothes and then walk by this creature. It was really a lot of really fun kind of ecchi stuff. Which is kind of surprising because when it comes to something like this, where obviously the big question mark is this censored? Is this uncensored? I would assume there's probably going to be a release later on that's a little bit more showy, but it does seem like so far nothing's really censored. If anything, it's probably, if they did censor anything, we don't know because it's probably off camera. Maybe they crop it in a certain way. So far, nothing's like super obvious. Like, there's not big stickers on the screen covering things like with Harem and a Labyrinth and Another World. There's nothing like that, and technically, despite the fact that Vermeil is much more mature looking, most of the interesting shots are of Lilia, like tons of underwear shots of her, and of course the whole scene having her disrobe herself in order to use the invisibility potion. It's good ecchi. This show does have good ecchi so far, and none of it, like I said, none of it's really huge, humongous stickers or light bars or anything like that. But at the same time, nothing really is actually shown. Just really underwear shots and, shots with, hair perfectly laying over their chest or something like that. So with all that said, is this show worth a watch so far? I I'm mixed. If you're looking for a really fun, ecchi show, definitely check it out. It's got plenty of good ecchi in it. It's got Vermeil constantly going after Alto and Alto freaking out. But then lies the issue. This is going to be one of those shows where it's a lot of ecchi, but it's got that annoying main character that's constantly blushing and trying to get away, and is extremely dense when it comes to anything relationship-wise. The action scenes are pretty decent. I mean, considering this is from Staple Entertainment, which has really only been known for doing in-betweens, they don't really have anything really under their belt as their own production studio, so I'm very curious as how well this will keep up going forward, but most of the action scenes are decent. I mean, doing better than studios like Naz and stuff like that, that's for sure. It's got a pretty decent story to kind of keep things moving. Again, the idea that Alto wants to become one of these platinum squares, and the idea that, yes, there's this kind of relationship between Vermeil and Alto that they are kind of perfect for each other. Again, Alto has this excessive amount of mana. He's able to give it to Vermeil. Vermeil's pretty much the only being that could actually accept it without dying. And additionally, the existence of having a demon as your familiar typically is death. Like, if you summon a demon in this world, you're gonna die. Unless you're somebody like Alto that has like a large amount of mana. And additionally, they're able to kind of offset each other. I appreciate the fact that not all the fights are just Vermeil steps forward and things die. It kind of bounces back and forth. Vermeil allows Alto to get these moments of victory. So instead of always stepping forward to take care of every situation for him, what she does is she amplifies the magic or the mana that he gives her, and she gives it back to him so that he's able to use like incredible spells. And it's like I said before, yes, he was bad at summoning because he had too much mana, but he's good at everything else. So if she does give him some sort of mana, he's able to use it to fight back really well. But again, we're all here for the ecchi, and the ecchi's pretty decent so far. I'm looking forward to more, but at the same time, this is your standard harem fare, so keep that in mind. I would equate it to something like Rosario X Vampire, that kind of formula of going to a school, ecchi ensues, that kind of stuff. So we'll see where it goes from here, but that's my thoughts so far on Vermeil in Gold. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure to hit that like button down below. Comment, let me know what's all this series if you're going to be checking it out. Additionally, if you're not already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support us more, we have a Patreon link, a tips link, and a super thanks button down below. I greatly appreciate everybody that considers, and y'all take care.